Hey everybody, welcome to Trading Capital's daily live stream of the market open. Today is currently May 4th. May the 4th be with you. As we kick off this new trading session, obviously a lot transpired yesterday regarding bank failures after hours. I mean, we have the KRE gapping down. We have the XLF under pressure. We have the KBE. So all the regionals, large, mid-sized banks are all under pressure this morning. It's even important to recognize that Apple is gapping lower. So potentially someone found out the earnings release ahead of time because Apple down, I believe it's down right now 1.5% in the pre-market. It was down 2% in the after hours yesterday. So to move Apple down 2% in the after hours is pretty big. A big seller sold. So are we going to be seeing Apple report weak earnings? We obviously got some insight from Qualcomm. QCOM had a terrible guidance. They're actually going to be down. Let me just see here on the daily. Qualcomm closed yesterday at 112. It's trading at 104. So recognize that Qualcomm is a very important supplier to Apple with regarding their handsets, some of their tech. So if Qualcomm is guiding down and giving poor earnings, I think there was a 17% decline in one specific area of their business, which should and could impact Apple. So Qualcomm's down about 7.44%. So we'll keep that on the radar. I am looking at a long on QCOM. Let me just do a quick check of my level here. I have some other long trades. The importance is to recognize that Qualcomm is breaking this key trend line. So this is a very bearish breakdown. If you draw your trend line there, you can see you got a retrace and a complete rejection and now a gap lower. So most people are going to be waiting at double bottom. I don't like that double bottom zone. I would have to go a little bit lower. Let me just take a look here. So double bottom, you will have some support. Let me just see if I can. The only thing I'm not liking is there's a massive gap on the chart, basically going all the way down to 93. Now I don't think it's going to hit there today. I think it will hit there eventually at some point in time. But believe it or not, I think the level that I'm watching right now is a flush. Let me just do a quick mathematical calculation here. Alright, so that's probably going to be too big of a drop. Double bottom is located at 102.20, but I don't like that level. I want to see it pierce. I would prefer a long trade on Qualcomm at the even 100 level. So 100 even. I would let it pierce that double bottom and try to get that 100 even number. I think that's going to be the more technically sound level to go along. 96.08 is a massive pivot zone. So if the markets get really in trouble today, that's going to be the next big support. And then your gap fill is sitting at around 93 bucks. There's a massive technical gap. So we'll just watch Qualcomm for a long trade. We're also looking at SHOP. SHOP is gapping up tremendously. I mean, I've seen so many charts on Twitter regarding SHOP being bearish, creating this bearish wedge on the near term of breaking down. If you were to watch this trend line here, you can see it's just been hugging this trend line. Most people were expecting a breakdown. Instead, what are they getting? A gap up of about 20%. The level I have on SHOP is $59 or higher, above 59. So keep SHOP on the radar for a short trade. I do like 59 or higher. So I'll draw a trend line in there. And basically you can see 59 bucks is right there. And then you do have this major pivot high at 61. I am seeing this simple trend line that I think SHOP is likely going to push up and touch and tag. So SHOP on watch. And then we're also watching PARA. PARA is gapping lower today substantially. So that's not going to be good for the media section. Even Disney's under some pressure, but Paramount's already trading at this pivot low over here. Believe it or not, the real level that I like on Paramount is if you take this COVID high, draw your trend line in. The only level I like is basically if we get a flush down into this trend line at around 17, a pierce of $17. That is the level on Paramount that I've calculated. You can see it's kind of where you had your little bit of bearish consolidation and your big breakout zone. We're also looking at Peloton. Peloton is also gapping lower today, missing earnings. This company is just getting decimated. The only level I like on Peloton, and this is more of an aggressive level, is this double bottom, triple bottom zone. We're also looking at Wayfair gapping up. I have a short level on Wayfair at 38.46. 38.46. So basically you can see that it's at 35.50. So right around this pivot high, maybe it's a short. There is a potential that it could maybe try to blow through this area a little bit and pierce that high, but that should be a pretty sound level at this point in time. We're also having Race gap up on earnings, so that's had a big move. I still think this stock is very extended. Race is Ferrari, but we have to be careful of that. If we look at the DXY, that is trying to push up today, so we'll keep an eye on that aspect of the market. Gold made a new all-time high yesterday, but you can see that this trend line literally kept it in check, and now it's putting in a big reversal candle. The big thing on gold is to watch the weekly. If we don't get a close above this wick high, this could be a failed breakout on gold. But nasty reversal off of that all-time high. Big reversal. And again, gold has been rallying. Why? Because of fear. Fear in the banks. And that is primarily it. That's pretty much going to sum it up for the trades. We are seeing, again, Apple's down pretty sharply. So that's going to weigh in on the market. Natural gas is just clinging onto some positive gains. I think it was interesting to see oil have a big flush yesterday. But it bounced right off that double bottom zone. Believe it or not, oil is likely going to go lower. So you actually got a bearish close on oil yesterday with this daily close below this green bar breakout. And now oil's just probably going to consolidate here. You do have a little bit of a daily bottoming tail to trade against. If you're an aggressive trader, you could trade that on the long side with a stop loss below that wick. But it's looking very weak. I just have to say that it is looking very weak at this point in time. We're seeing Nvidia slightly down. We're seeing Uber under a little bit of pressure. AMD's also slightly down. So it'll be an interesting session today. Obviously, the big thing that we have to pay attention to is Apple's earnings. Apple earnings is after the bell. And again, that little bit of a flush was just a weird price action that it seems like someone got the earnings ahead, and or perhaps maybe they're just taking profits ahead of the earnings. But whenever you get a gap down in the after hours of 2% on the biggest company in the world, you just better be paying attention. You better be paying attention. Scrolling through here to see if I can see anything else. Microsoft's positive, Meta's positive. AMD slightly negative. Oil's hanging on to some gains. I'm just going to scroll through some of the earnings here. So yeah, Peloton's down 13, Wayfair's up 11. Pinnacle West Capital's down 4.8, BWA's down 3.27. The Carlyle Group, CG, is down 6.05%. Very interesting. Paramount's down 16.9. Datadog showing some strength, up 5.86% after a big move yesterday too. But Datadog is pushing up right now. So we're about 5 minutes till the open. I'm also looking at, so Qualcomm for a long, Shopify for a short, and we'll see what type of price action we get here. But markets are set to gap down. So definitely keep Shopify on the radar. 99, 92, in and around that vicinity. Could get a bid right away when we open, especially since it's testing that double bottom zone. Just want to check to see where the pre-market low was on SHOP. Or sorry, on Qualcomm. So the pre-market low was around 103.60. 103.60 was the pre-market low. So definitely keep Qualcomm on the radar. I am interested on the long side on Qualcomm. And we'll just pay attention to that, because it will be a market leader for the semis. Alright, so spiders closed at 407. There was continuous bleeding in the after hours yesterday, and now they are gapping down to about 406.80 on the spiders. The futures are down right now. So Tesla's actually holding up very well here. It's up about 1.5%. So that's interesting to see. So I think the best play that I'm looking at is Qualcomm at the moment. Definitely keep Qualcomm on the radar. I'm just going to open this to the regular trading so we can see the gap. But 99.92 is a long level. I'm watching SHOP. All right, we have about 3 minutes here till the open. The Dixie softened up a little bit. But yeah, definitely some weakness in this market right now. And especially after Powell being kind of hawkish, not saying he's going to support the regionals at all. Kind of just threw them completely under the bus there. And you're even seeing the largers respond to that. Wells Fargo's gapping lower. That's good for our short. China stocks are gapping up right now. We'll see if they fade at all. Amazon's up nicely as well. Silver's holding its gains despite gold reversing. Google's slightly lower. Netflix is slightly up. We have some of the commercial real estate week today. Again, will we see some profit taking ahead of Apple earnings? That's the big thing I'm watching. That is the big thing I'm watching. So right now, financials are obviously the weak, technology's down. The only sector that's positive is communications, XLC and XLE. Just positive. But a lot of red so far in this morning. All right, here we go. Get ready. We've got 10 seconds. 9. 5 seconds to the open. Shopify's pushing up. All right, markets are open here. Keep Qualcomm on the radar. Pack W's down 44%. Jesus, that's insanity. Insanity. Qualcomm's catching a small bounce here. It has not hit our level. Shopify is still on watch. You have the VIX gapping higher today. Apple's obviously trying to get a little bit of a bid off the lows. Meta's coming down now. So let's look at IWM. That one's under some pressure. The SPY also under pressure. It'll be interesting to see if Apple catches a bid at all. Shopify's pushing up. Spiders are still weak right now. They are still weak. Microsoft's losing most of its momentum, so is Tesla. Meta's falling sharply, so communications are now negative. It was the only sector positive. at the open. Now utilities are positive, staples are positive, real estate's positive, materials are positive, energy's positive. So it's really the big sectors that are weighing. The larger sectors are weighing in on this market. We're seeing KRE still very, very weak, but trying to catch a small bid. Gold is falling a little bit here. Meta's still coming down. Apple's still acting pretty weak. So the markets are trying to get a small little bounce here. Small little bounce coming in. QQQ is still acting weak though. That's because of Nvidia and Apple and now Microsoft. Uber's also falling. Uber's been a pretty strong leader, but it is falling. Shopify is still trying here. Let's do a check on AMD. That's reversing. Take a look at Nvidia. That's under some pressure today as well. And Nvidia actually had a fake print all the way down to about the I think it was like 265 yesterday. So we'll just pay attention to that. The SMH is obviously gapping lower, fading. So I'm seeing the weakness in the Qs today. The weakness is in tech, QQQ. So we'll pay attention to the Qs. I do have a big support on the Qs at, let me just see here. First support's at 314, that's going to be your minor. Major support's at 311.72. So if this market starts selling off pretty hard, I mean, we could see a flush down on the Qs pretty big. Paramount's down 19%. Jeepers. Let's look at Paramount here. Look at this gap down. Still hasn't hit our level. 1764 is my long. Keep the QQQ up here for us. Microsoft's holding up. Nvidia's still selling off. Pfizer's negative. Apple's down 1.6. Tesla's pulled off the highs, but still clinching to some positive gains. Qualcomm's getting a small minor bounce. Amazon's positive. The regional banks are getting slaughtered. First Horizon has got the deal pulled. They got rug pulled by TD Bank, so they're down 36%. TD was set to buy out First Horizon, and they completely blocked that deal. They crushed the merger. Pac W's down 41%. Wow. And again, we may see a small little bounce come into the markets, but the big question is, are people going to want to hold their tech into Apple earnings? That's the big question. Bitcoin's under a little bit of pressure. Obviously, consumer staples are still holding up, like Clorox. They're acting pretty well. Eli Lilly is short at above 435. I do like. Regeneron's getting slaughtered, down 5.16%. So Regeneron's another interesting name. It is down. Markets are catching a small bounce. Just want to see on my page here. Spiders are catching a nice little bounce here. So they're finding some reprieve. They are finding some reprieve. Natural gas is under pressure again today. Apple's still struggling. Shopify's pushing up. I still like that 59 level for a short, so I'm watching Shopify. Uber's coming back down again. Spiders are still acting weak here. If you take a look at Uber's been a powerhouse stock, trying to come down now. We did short that yesterday with a success in the day trade room. Keep Paramount on your radar. Keep Paramount on the radar. I do like this level down here, 1703. It's down 21%. Wow. Down 21%. Meta caught a nice bid. Qualcomm just had a big reversal. Look at this big reversal on Qualcomm. Initial bounce, so we may get down to there. So keep that on the radar. Keep that definitely on the radar. So the spiders are now reversing. Let's keep the Qs on watch because they were weak. IWM. IWM is also getting slaughtered. Wow. Look at that fall. That's incredible. Definitely incredible to see. Paramount's coming down to that level, guys. 1764. I do like Paramount for a long. Markets are catching a little bit of a bid here. Spiders are still weak though. QQQs have caught a bid. So money rotating out of, looks like out of regionals again, out of the Russell into tech. That's been the theme. That's definitely been the theme. And the Russell's under a lot of pressure today. A ton of pressure. Uber's coming down nicely. JP Morgan's under pressure today. Pinterest just made a new low as well. That one's intriguing for a potential long trade. I'm watching Pins as well. Pins is at a nice sell-off, so if the markets catch a big bid, Pins is an interesting opportunity to go long. Just going to remove all these drawings here. Go to the daily chart on Pins. Yeah, if Pins actually flushes down to this gap, we can play it on the long side. So basically a 20 even. $20 whole number. We can go long Pins. Paramount's coming up, guys, so get ready to go long Paramount. Paramount is coming up into our level. 1764. 1764. You can see it almost hit that level. It's a few pennies away. Qualcomm, I'm still watching Qualcomm, but Paramount is on deck. It's coming up into a level here. Blackstone's under pressure today, down about 2.3. Apple's creating a little bit of a bounce here. Coinbase is under pressure this morning. Spiders are making new lows intraday here. Apple's still under pressure, so look at the spiders here. So spiders are trying to get a little bit of a bounce here. Still have Tesla holding onto its gains. Apple's down 1.5. PACW's down 45. XOM just went negative, so it had a pretty big reversal. You have the VIX popping up here, pushing up to the highs. Keep Paramount on the radar, guys. Paramount's coming down. PARA is coming down into technical support here. So I'm going to be going long at 1764 with a starter position. So that is one of the trades I do like. Other than that, Shopify is still obviously on watch. Datadog's pushing up. Shopify still hasn't hit our level, but it's up tremendously. It is up tremendously. If XOM flushed down to, whoops, I'm just going to mute my alerts here. Sorry, guys. What's this GS here? Goldman Sachs is getting slaughtered. Goldman Sachs is hitting some support. Come on, Paramount. Let's see if we can get another little flush lower. Spiders are still at the lows. Qs are at the lows. So everything's getting us a flush here. Basically, everything's under a lot of pressure. But Paramount is on watch. Qualcomm's had a bounce off of that pre-market low. Blackstone is getting slaughtered today. Taken to the woodshed. PNC is getting taken to the woodshed. Regionals are still getting hit pretty hard here. Pretty hard. Even McDonald's is coming in. That stock has just been a powerhouse. That stock has been a ridiculous powerhouse. UVXY is starting to push up. Starbucks is pushing up. Obviously, Starbucks got hit yesterday. Spiders are coming up into a gap fill here. The SPX gap fill is at 4,056. Give or take, the Spiders gap fill is around... What's the Spider gap here? Spider gap is around 404.37, give or take. So that's where it looks like we're heading on the Spiders. Paramount is almost there, guys. I haven't changed my screen because Paramount's almost at the level. But if you look at the Spiders here, I'll just watch Paramount and call it out. The Spider gap is basically where it looks like we're heading is down here. So hopefully Paramount and the Spiders kind of simultaneously hit support, because I'd feel much more confident going long para when the Spiders hit support. But they are trying to catch a bounce here. And let's just see what type of action we get. But lots of weakness today. Continuation move to the downside. A continuation move to the downside from yesterday's Powell debacle and the regional bank debacle. The Dixie's starting to push up. I know Bitcoin is taking a little bit of a sell here. Alright, Paramount's coming in, guys. Paramount is coming into the level. Get ready. We are a few cents away. Oh, it's like a penny away. It's not wanting to fill us here. Alright, guys, I just got filled on Paramount. 1763. 1763 long para. It's a 1/5 position. Long Paramount. 1763. Let's see what happens here. Could go lower. Next support where we add is around, just looking here, really 1704. 1704. Spiders are continuing to sell here. There's a level ahead of that around 1740. That is decent support as well. You can see we almost bouncing it, but since we're bouncing a little bit, I would have to wait till 1734. But since the market's weak right now, I'm going to add at 1724 and then a pierce of this $17 level. Okay, so 1704 and then the whole number of 17 just to put it there on the chart. Meta's coming down some more. Microsoft's falling. QQQs are at the lows. Spiders are at the lows. Spiders are almost into that gap fill support. So spiders are coming up into that support zone. So let's pay attention to how that reacts. I know natural gas is under pressure again. KRE still at the lows. Paramount's still trying to flush lower. Just keep it on watch here. Just slowly accumulate. The markets should get a little bit of a bounce. Natural gas is seeing a big flush now. Alright, get ready to add to Paramount here. Get ready to add to Paramount. Alright guys, I'm going to add to my Paramount here. One more little dip. One more little dip here. Alright guys, I just added to my Paramount here at 1723. 1723. 2-6 position. Brings my average down to 1743. Next add level is a pierce to that 17 level. A pierce to that 17. Spiders still have not hit the gap fill support yet, but they're looking very, very close to doing so. Shopify level is still intact from the short side. It's pushing up tremendously well here. Apple's trying to test the lows. Qs are still falling sharply. Bank of America, JP Morgan, Wells Fargo, they're all getting demolished. Wow. What a sell-off in the banks. It's truly incredible to witness this. Alright, Paramount's coming up into the next level, guys. Paramount is coming up into the next level. That $17 level. Spiders still have not hit that gap fill. Paramount's getting a small bounce here. Crypto's under pressure but trying to bounce a little bit. Even Nike's down 2.86% today. You had Regeneron gapping lower. Eli Lilly's still holding most of its gains. So markets are bouncing here. I just covered my Wells Fargo swing trade for a nice double-digit 10% gain. Full disclosure there. We're still seeing banks under a lot of pressure though. Paramount's still coming down, guys. A lot of selling in this name. A lot of selling in this name. Should provide a pretty big bounce once the selling is over. So I'm prepared to add at 17 or lower, so definitely have an order queued up and ready. Don't show the market your order. That's always a recipe for disaster, as people front run you and they bounce it. They try to bounce it like this ahead of it, but alright, Paramount's coming down and Shopify is also starting to look like a short trade coming up here, guys. So keep a Shopify window open because Shopify is pushing up. Paramount, I still have not added my third position yet, but I am watching it very, very closely here. Now the dangerous thing about Shopify is it's a relative strength name and the markets haven't bounced. So if the markets get a bounce, you can imagine what Shopify may do. If the markets do get a bounce, it could push up even more, but it's coming up into a good level here. So here comes Paramount now. Keep Shopify on your radar. It's approaching 59. I'm going to see if we can get a pierce of that $60 level as well. So semis are getting a bounce now. Semis are getting a bounce. The Russell's also trying to put in a bounce. I think we can look for about, let me just see here, Paramount at the lows. I think it was down like 27% there. So we can probably look for about 40 to 60 cents, maybe even a buck on Paramount, but 40 cents should be doable. Apple's getting a bounce. Spiders are trying to put in a bounce here. Shopify's up 27%. PacWest is still down 42%. Sorry for bumping the screen there. Microsoft is lagging. It was showing relative strength in the earlier session, and now it's lagging. It's lagging tremendously here. Natural gas is getting pummeled again. Testing the lows of yesterday. All right, keep Shopify on the radar for a short, guys. It's pushing up here. Shop is pushing up here. I do like Shop for a short. It's hitting first technical resistance. I'm going to wait, though, because the spiders, if they get a bigger bounce, we could see it come in more. I'm going to look at this 60.54 level. So keep Shop on the radar for a short. Paramount, we're now in the money. That's getting a good bounce. Again, I think we can get a move up to 1784. I think we can get a move up there at the minimum. All right, Paramount's getting a big push here, guys. Meta's coming down. Microsoft's coming down. Paramount's coming up, guys. So I have about 1,500 shares right now. All right, guys, I'm going to protect my Paramount trade here at 1750. I'm putting a stop loss, 1750. I have a stop loss, and I'm going to move it up as Paramount progresses. I want to lock in gains and just protect the trade. So I will adjust it every 4 cents higher if we get a push. So now it's at 1754. My stop's at 1754. It's now at 1760. I'm locking in gains here. I'm just keeping about a 5 cent trailing stop here. All right, I just got stopped out 1760. I'm out of Paramount for a nice little win there. For a good win there on Paramount. I just wanted to make sure that we bank some profits because this market is very tricky. So sell stopped at 1760. That was a nice little trade there. I made about 17 cents times 1,500 shares. So that's a good little gain. Just over 200, easy peasy in the morning. It is pushing up more. Now I'm going to keep Shopify on the radar. Hasn't hit that short level just quite yet. I'm interested in playing Paramount again if we were to flush. But as of now, we're just sitting in the pocket. We'll wait again. Paramount we can play again if it flushes lower. Shopify still on watch. Natural gas kind of intrigues me for a long here, to be honest, because there's a tight stop loss. So UNG or Boyle is an interesting play here. There is storage, nat gas storage, so it makes it a little bit more risky. But we'll just keep an eye on that. Spiders have caught a bounce. Never filled the gap. So that leaves me a little suspect of this market. Let me do a quick flip to Datadog. That's Shopify's chart. DDog. Nvidia's getting a big bounce. Let's do a check on Peloton. That hasn't hit the level. Let's do Wayfair. W is the ticker. That's up nicely. Wayfair still hasn't hit my technical resistance, but getting close. Markets are getting a big bid here. So you have strength coming in through tech. Apple, Nvidia are pushing up, but Microsoft's now lagging. Shopify's taking a breather. Do a quick check on SoFi. That's coming down. Pins. Pins got a big bounce. Yep, that was a good level. Let's do ANET. Wow, look at that move on ANET. Jeez. ALGN. That's under a little bit of pressure today. The Russell's got a big bounce. Paramount's pushing up some more. Take a look at this pack W. I'm surprised it's not halted and closed right now. Very surprised. Take a look at this weakness in Microsoft coming in. It's just reversing. And now you're testing these low pivots. So we'll keep an eye on Microsoft. So Apple appears to be struggling here. Paramount's still got a nice push. It's good to see. Coinbase is under a lot of pressure right now, which could mean Bitcoin's about to fall. Spiders are now coming back down, and again, the spiders never hit the technical support, so they should come down some more. Blackstone got a big bounce. Home builders still acting resilient. Jeez, the home builders are crazy. Crazy strong. Natural gas is still under pressure. So as of now, we're just sitting, seeing if the markets give us a bigger directional move. We're just waiting patiently. And if something appears, we will take an opportunity and a trade. I am eyeing up a few other opportunities, but they have not hit the levels yet. Microsoft's still looking very weak. Tesla's starting to fade. Regional banks are seeing another round of selling here. So regionals are clearly under pressure. Even Clorox is under pressure right now. Let's do an AMD check. AMD's had a pretty big bounce off the lows, but they did trigger that head and shoulders, so it's kind of vulnerable right now. I'm interested in maybe Para again. If Para can flush a little bit lower, we might get another little round of selling. Anything below our previous average of 1742, I'll look to start accumulating again. So I'm watching Para closely. Microsoft's still fading, so that's going to be interesting to see if it drags the market down. Meta's also fading off the highs. Obviously, there was that news announcement from Meta yesterday that they're trying to pass a bill legislation that states that they can no longer target teens and kids and use them as profits to mine their data. So they're trying to eliminate Meta from profiting off of teenagers and kids, minors essentially. Spiders, let's do a Russell check. Russell's trying to push up, so that's decent for the market. That means the spiders could likely build a base here. Let me see if there's any other longs I'm looking at. Paramount's still down 22%. That's a big move down. USB, WAL. It's mainly just the banking stocks that are getting absolutely slaughtered today. KRE is intriguing. I mean, you've had a pretty 4-bar surge to a low just for a bottom pick on KRE. It does look kind of intriguing. It's super high risk. Obviously, the regionals, we could wake up or could have an announcement that they are closing or something of that nature, but Qs are still trying to bounce here. Spiders are trying to bounce. Starbucks is interesting. If Starbucks could hit, let me just isolate down this level a little more. If Starbucks can flush down to the 101, pierce of 102 essentially, 101.80, I may be interested in going long Starbucks. And now what's interesting about the spiders is they're kind of putting in a little bit of minor bearish consolidation here on the larger term time frame, and that's hovering right over a key technical support area. So that's telling me that we could go even lower on the chart for the spiders. And I'm just trying to isolate down the bigger technical level in the spiders for us. So WAL just got halted to the downside. Western Alliance, maybe they're going to be the next bust. So spiders, again, are putting in that bearish consolidation to move lower. But Apple's pushing up, Tesla's falling, Microsoft's catching a bid, so that's going to help the Qs. So we'll pay attention to that aspect. Natural gas is still acting weak here. Natural gas storage is out in 25 minutes. 25 minutes. KRE's coming down a little bit more now. Bank of America's trying to bounce slightly. Nvidia's trying to go positive. So Nvidia's about to go green on the session. It's lifting the whole market. So semis again are those leaders that typically will instill more confidence in the market. The VIX is fading off of the highs. The VIX is fading off of the highs. Still watching the Russell, which isn't really participating. The spiders are putting in a bear flag here. I'm interested in maybe shorting the spiders here. All right, guys, I shorted the spiders here, 405.80, 405.80, 405.80. I shorted the spiders. My stop loss, this is just a heavy position on the spiders since it's less risky. I shorted the spiders at 405.80. My stop loss is going to be a close above this 406.40 level. And you can see we're trending lower right now. Come on, spiders. Let's see if we roll. So stop loss is this 406.40 close. Target on this is basically down to gap fill here. So $1.40. Look at this. We're getting a nice little sell here. I'm seeing that bear flag break out. I'm seeing the dollar trying to put in a little bit of a base to move higher. So let's see if the spiders can keep falling here. All right, here we go, guys. Here we go. On the SPY, we're starting to fade a little bit here. We are starting to fade a little bit. But it's a nice potential bear flag. Come on, let's see if we can get it to play out. Seems to be maybe a possible trend day to the downside. Microsoft caught a big bid though. Alright, I'm going to move my stop a little bit closer to 406.20. 406.20. I will move my stop. Tesla's testing the lows. Apple's trying to push up here. Natural gas is holding, trying to get a bounce. Regionals are still under pressure. So spiders are trying to catch a bid here, guys. Let's see if we can get a trend to the downside, or will we get a push up? Nvidia's pushing up, so big push up in the market here. The dollar's trying to tick up a little bit. Natural gas is starting to try to uptick ahead of inventories, but it's probably not going to make a big directional move. Costco's fading. The Qs are trying to push up. Regionals are finding some pressure again. And Nvidia just went positive, so markets are trying to push up here. Alright, Nvidia's seeing some more selling. The dollar's getting an uptick here. So we should see Microsoft seeing some more selling. Alright, so now we're going to see if the spider can make its trend move to the downside. This is kind of what I'm waiting for and seeing on the time frame here. Come on, let's see if we can hit that gap. Tesla new lows. Tesla new lows. Nvidia's back to the negative side. Dollar's trying to make a little bit of a push here, guys. So I'm looking at this dollar. It's trying to make a small little push. Right now the volume is roughly on the spiders 13.7 million. It's okay. It's a little light, but it's okay. It's not bad. Shopify's still up 26. Pac West is still down 45. First Horizon's down 37. WAL's down 27. Paramount's down 21. It's had a pretty big bounce. Spiders are trying to push up here, guys. Bank of America getting hit hard. The bigger banks are also seeing some downside. Microsoft starting to sell here. Tesla new lows. The volatility, VIX is starting to uptick. Apple's holding at that 165.60 level, and it is pushing up, so that's going to help the spiders. So Apple's pushing up, which is helping this market. Qualcomm never officially hit our level. Still watching shop for a short, but I don't really like it after that 10:30 time frame. Maybe even you could push it maybe to 11. All right, Apple's seeing some distribution. Microsoft seeing some more distribution. Spiders are now coming down. The dollar's trying to push up here. Oil's still hanging on by a thread. Bank of America at the lows. JP Morgan at the lows. If JP Morgan was to flush down to 129 even, I would go long JP Morgan. Here comes the spiders. Come on, let's see if we can get a flush here. They are putting in bearish consolidation right above that key technical gap, so I remain optimistic. Still seeing some weakness in Nvidia now. Microsoft. Tesla's got a small bounce. Apple's pulling off of the highs. Amazon's up 0.5%, so it's holding up. Datadog's up nicely on the session. Dixie's still trying to push up. Let's do a W check. Alright, so Apple's pushing up, which is why the spiders are getting a bid. Amazon's reversing from the highs. We'll see if that hurts the market at all. But spiders are getting a nice little push here. But we've been stuck in this range. Apple's pushing up. Still finding some heavy resistance here on the spiders. Some heavy resistance. Alright, big push down now. Here comes the trend. Come on. You know you want to fall, spiders. Go fill that gap. Go fill that gap. Here we go, guys. This bear flag breaks. We should get a nice flush. Alright, I'm moving my stop loss to break even now. 405.80. Don't want to take a loss on the trade. 405.80 break even stop loss. I don't have my stop loss in, but it's just ready to be fulfilled if we see more selling. lock in 10-cent gains at the minimum. Now I'm going to lock in 20-cent gain. We're coming down to that gap, guys. We're coming down to that gap. All right, I'm moving my stop loss to 405. Now 404.90. 404.85. Come on. Here we go, guys. We're banking a nice profit here, almost $1. All right, I'm putting my 404.80, my stop loss now. 404.80. $404.80, my stop loss. We're banking $1 on this trade. All right, I'm just covering here, guys. I just covered at, let me see what I got filled at. 404.31. 404.31 cover. Boom. Beautiful trade there. That was telegraphed. That one was telegraphed. Hit target exactly. That was beautiful. That was a sublime trade. All right. So that was over $1.45. $1.45 on that trade. And I had 150 shares on the spiders there. That was a nice win. So 2 for 2. That's a nice little morning. That is a nice little morning. That's pretty decent, I would say. I'm looking at Philip Morris maybe for a long trade. PM for a long is interesting. It did fill a gap. It's had a nice 3-bar surge down. Bank of America is still weak. XOM is coming down, guys. Keep XOM on the radar. I do like that. KRE just made a new low, so that got obliterated. That did get obliterated there. That was a beautiful trade. I like that spider trade. That was nice. I love trading the indices because they definitely not as volatile as some of these stocks. So I'm going to see if I can find some long setups at this point in time. Philip Morris PM is interesting at around 94.24. 94.24. It did fill a technical gap at around 94.72. But I'm going to see if we can get a little bit lower. So keep Philip Morris on watch. Levels I like. I mean, it's hitting the support right here at 94.62 there. But my level I like is around 94.24. So spiders are bouncing off that level. Apple's pushing up here. Still watching Shopify. Peloton. Shopify's still trying to push up. Snapchat is just bleeding absolutely lower. Gold is catching another bid here, which tells me that there's going to be weakness in the regionals. Keep Para on the watch again. I am interested in going long Paramount here. So Paramount is coming in. Look at the spiders. They're trying to hold up off that level. They did fill the gap. The next support on the spiders, which I would actually consider going long, on the SPX is 4,028.50. On the actual spider chart, it will be coinciding with 401.43. I do think we can actually get down there today. That would imply an additional move down in the spiders of about 0.8%. That could happen. That could absolutely happen, guys. So on the spiders, the next level, whoops, let me just erase that. So the next level I have is 401.43, where I will play the spiders long. We're approaching that 10:20 time frame. I am going to end this stream at 10:30 since we've already banked 2 beautiful winners, 2 nice winners. And this could be a trend day to the downside. And obviously pay attention to Apple earnings because they're going to be imperative to the market. And based off of Qualcomm's earnings, it's not good. And based off of that aftermarket sell yesterday, that's certainly not positive for the market. Gold is shooting up. The regionals are getting absolutely slaughtered again. They're heading much, much lower. Ooh, it's so intriguing trying to play the regionals because they're so oversold. But not right now. Not right now. GDX is pushing up. So the VIX is starting to break out here, guys. The VIX is starting to break out. Para is coming down now again. Keep Para on the radar. I am intrigued at going long here. Now it's almost at our same level that we entered in. But watch out for a trend day to the downside. It's looking likely that we see that trend day to the downside. So what I'm going to encourage people to do is just play it safely, play it cautiously. Spiders next support is at that 401.43. You do have some minor support here at 403.58, which could yield a bounce. But it'll be interesting. Nvidia dumping, Microsoft dumping. Getting an alert on Crocs. Crocs is interesting. If Crocs flushed into 110, we would go long. Let's keep the spiders on watch here. And Paramount is still trying to hold up here. Philip Morris. Alright, so I'm looking at Philip PM for a long. I'm looking at Paris still. I'm looking at the spiders if they were flushed down to 401.43. But considering we have two winners in the bucket, I am going to call this stream to an end. We are seeing gold starting to soar again to the upside. So that's pricing in a lot more risk coming into the banking sector. And just be very wary of that. Be very, very wary of that. So, on that note, thank you all for tuning in. Appreciate all the support here. Please give this video a like, comment down below if you were able to profit with us. We're continuing to provide alpha for free in these trade rooms. Every morning I'm calculating levels. We have our team streaming, finding you all the latest news and alerts. Pay attention to NAC gas inventories, which come out in 5 minutes. But definitely well done. Well done today, and we'll see you on the charts tomorrow. And pay attention to Apple earnings. Thank you, everybody.